People, what's happening? It's your boy Ricky Skills. I'm here on the Frontline show. I'm fully hosting today because my man Tyrone, he is out. He's doing he's working with the anti-theft program, and he is getting ready tomorrow because it's gonna be real big. But today I'm bringing you another powerful show for people. The first one, you remember my brother my brother Minister Jew, and that was a power pack show. Today I'm bringing on his partner. You won't be able to call in, but you will be able to post your questions online, and I'll be calling them out to him, and he'll be answering them. And at the end of the show, we're gonna let him tell you where you can contact him at. We talking about relationships. We talking about yourself, and main thing, we talking about money, people. So we're gonna kick it off, just like my man Ty always say, sponsored by hashtag support your local weed man. Hashtag support your local weed man. Hashtag support your local weed man, because you know he's trying to shut down the dispensaries or either give us equal rights in it. So, brother Noble.
What's up, Rick?
What's happening, brother? What's happening, man? I'm so glad to have you on the show today, bro, because, bro, I'm not going to lie. And you know I ain't getting paid to say this, but, bro, you really changed lives, bro, and also mine.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you. All praises due to the Most High, as they say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, I want to kick this off, man, and I want to tell people about. I want to talk about the silent trauma that we have in the in our communities, man. And what made me throw this portion in right here for a few minutes, people, is because the death of DMX. You know what I'm saying? And all his career, man, he was calling out for help. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't have the right people around him, man. You know what I'm saying? They was keeping him busy, and that would keep you distracted from yourself. So that's why he really turned to the drugs, because it was an escape. And the reason I understand it, people, because I used to be being DMX. You know what I'm saying? It's scary when you got a gift, man, and people around you, and you don't know who they are. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, Brother Noble, I mean, tell us about the silent trauma that's in our community, man. What's going on, man?
Man, bro, man. So it runs deep, man. I like to deal with it from the perspective of there's a great book by Dr. Joy DeGruy. She called it post-traumatic slave syndrome. I like to really say it's a disorder, you know what I'm saying, and not necessarily a syndrome. Syndrome can be a little bit more synonymous with a symptom.
Okay.
I think we display way more than the symptoms. Yeah. We crazy, you know what I mean? We bona fide crazy. It is, man. And it stems back from, that particular time, and it's passed on genetically. There's studies that's done on poverty and how poverty literally damages the DNA.
Wow.
It damages myelin, which is a substance that's kind of like, imagine DNA as a shoestring, and that little plastic coating at the tip of the shoestring that goes through the holes.
Yeah.
That's how myelin is. It's like basically a protective coating around DNA.
Okay.
Well, if you're introduced to poverty, or your perception of your reality, and this is the key, your perception is what dictates your reality. I want to be very clear about that.
Whoa. Because
your standard of poverty may not be my standard of poverty and vice versa. True. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's totally 100% based off our perception of reality and how we respond to the external stimuli. Very, very, very important. because what this is going to do is, see, your brain is watching you, ladies and gentlemen. You need to understand that. So when it says that, oh, you see a spider and my daughter screams, then what happens is her amygdala in her brain sends this message that says, okay, spider, scream. And then it's another gland in the brain called the hippocampus, which stores memory. So now it says, okay, we know what to do when we see spider, scream, run, because this is about survival, right?
Okay.
But when I see a spider, I don't have that same reaction. I'm laughing. It's cute to me. I actually don't kill spiders. I capture them and I let them outside because they do you a favor by, potentially, eating pesky insects that may be in the house.
Yeah,
so it's 100% based off perception. And once you know how you're made, then you will understand that your brain is cataloging and storing your experiences based off of how we respond. Fact. Okay?
Okay.
So, saying that to say, like, we really got to get to the master aspect of ourselves where we start to control our perception of reality, and most important, start to control the responses that we have. But the trauma is deep. It's passed on genetically. And, our response to the negative response to poverty, without a shadow of a doubt, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing you got to do is go to Google and put in poverty damages DNA. And you're going to see countless studies, whether it be from accredited universities and medical institutions that have time and time over again, they have shown that, our perception of poverty damages our DNA. So it runs deep, man. It really does. It runs deep. And of course we see it and how it plays out into, whether it be the culture, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Raise your hand if you want to kill somebody. You don't raise your hand, but you feel like you have to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Raise your hand if you want to sell dope and create crack babies. You feel like you don't want to, but you feel like you have to. Now here's the question. Who's forcing you to do that? Are you really forced to do it, or do you feel like, that's just something that you gotta do? But you got to man up and take responsibility of these choices, because once we can gain control over that faculty of understanding that we in control at all times, we can start to alleviate and eliminate those particular poverty genes that we have. Because if the mind is studying you, and it is, then your belief starts to restructure DNA. So case in point could be, infamous placebo studies, whether it be, you take some children and you brush poison ivy against them. And then you take another group of children and you brush poison ivy against them. And the children who you brush poison ivy against, they don't break out. And the other group of children, they break out. The slight issue is the children who broke out actually had fake poison ivy. And then the people who didn't break out actually was told that they didn't break out. They was told that it was fake, but in all reality, it was really real poison ivy.
Wow.
Like, this is case studies that's done over and over and over again to show you the power of your mind. So, the trauma runs deep. You know what I mean? We can get into different aspects of trauma if you want to, but I'm just going to say, hey, we know how deep it goes. We know where it stems from. And hopefully that quick little things I shared with you as far as the mind and those case studies should show you that the power of your mind supersedes everything.
Dope. Bro, I got so many questions to ask you, bro, but I'm going to stick with the most efficient ones. Okay. Now, it was a saying says that we wasn't born with manuals, you know what I'm saying, to live life. But when I ran across you, bro, like, you got a manual. you got a manual, bro. And when I first got tuned into you, like, you was showing me all this stuff through the stars, bro. And I'm not gonna lie to you. In the beginning, I was like, well, anybody can say it afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know astrology. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But when you when you did the Tekashi 6ix9ine thing, you know, I was on that because I was
crazy,
I was sending you
right,
messages. I was
right.
like, he in trouble. You said, no, it's gonna be bigger than that. Like you act like out. You looked in his birth chart, and you seen what was gonna happen, and you called it out, and you called out to the day,
That's right.
Everything, bro. Like it was on point, and I was like, okay, I'm gone. I'm there. Could you explain to us how knowing your birth chart and understanding your planet placement can actually help you win in life, be successful, even find your true love?
Right.
How does that go, bro?
Facts, man. You know, that's funny, man. That was a good one. You know, it's referencing, you know, I made a video on YouTube, and that particular YouTube channel is called Hip Hop Astrology TV. And I gave a precise timeline where Tekashi 6ix9ine would have a RICO charge coming his way. And it unfolded exactly to the T. I done timelines on Charlemagne the God, and we told him that it looked like he got I told him, quote, he got Bill Cosby energy. And then a year later to the date, when I released that video, a young woman from his past said, you know, when they was younger and partying, they drugged her and raped her. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I nailed that thing to the day. So, you know, to answer that question, man, everybody is familiar with their own sun sign. Hey, it's Aries season, it's Leo season, happy birthday, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's great because that's for starters, but we got to go a little bit deeper. And so the best way I can explain it, honestly, y'all, would be like, we live in a place called Earth that is floating in space, just like Mars and the sun and other things are in the sky floating in space. Because sometimes we see it's like we see it as if we're like, you know, those things are out there and we're not out there with it. And these particular bodies have energy. It's just a fact. Anything that has a physical composition, a chemical composition, has an energetic signature. So when you look at the spring, like right now, the tulips are blossoming, my flowers are up in the yard, the green, you know, green is on the trees. And so the earth is responding to light from the sun coming at a particular angle. We just happen to call it spring.
Okay.
And so if we can clearly see that there is a relationship between the earth and the sun, you can see this in human behavior. It's something called seasonal affectionate disorder, known as SAD. Some people become depressed when it's not enough sunlight out, and you know they just literally become depressed. This is a clinical diagnosis called SAD. The moon is one of my favorite pieces to look at because you know, even Neil Tyson deGrasse, who's not a fan of astrology, but it baffles me because he actually gave a astrological correspondence when he was on Sway in the Morning one time, and he said, you know, if a couple gets pregnant and the moon was full, if the female goes a full term, the moon will be full at the time that she delivers. That's a human core. You just took a physical celestial body, the moon, and made a correspondence to human reproductive cycles is what you did. Now, I study the female reproductive cycle and is very amazed at it. Whether it be my daughter, when she came on her first period, I look at, see where the moon was at. And then I'm able, let's say the moon is in the sign of, let's just say Leo. And then I'm able to go up into the future next month and say, oh, the moon will be in Leo on this date. You should come on your period on this time. And then sure enough, like clockwork, I done studied this before with countless women. The moon, wherever the moon is in front of when her cycle starts, when the moon gets there again, 28 to 29 days later, it can start again. Now, some women are not on that cycle, but in my study, I've seen it. But it's also to say that, well, wait a minute, how could that not be too far-fetched? Because the moon is said to have a gravitational pull on the earth in all of the waters on the earth. So if you're dealing with the vast Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, and it has a pull on that, and the human body is said to be over 90% of water anyway, what makes you think that the moon doesn't have a pull on you? So this phenomenon has been studied, known as, people have studied crime and full moons. in hospital visits, ER visits at the time of the full moon have been seeing increases. So this is something that's not necessarily unknown. The Western Hemisphere have to catch up to the Eastern sciences. See, the Eastern science has all of the knowledge and the information. The Western world is the side of materialism and physical richness. What has to happen is a golden bridge has to be met where the East is just now coming into the physical abundance and the technology, and then people in the West is just now coming into yoga, astrology, meditation, law of attraction. You see what I'm saying? So there's this delicate balance that needs to take place, just like the left and right brain hemispheres, the left and right hemispheres of our own brain, that we have to learn how to cultivate and balance them and step into the true power. So the star science in of itself is saying, hey, at the time of your birth, literally, not just the day you're born, the time that you're born. So, for example, ladies and gentlemen, if the sun rises at 7 o'clock in the morning, well, the sun is in the east because the sun is just risen. That's a different energy than sunset 12 hours later at 7, 8 o'clock in the evening when the sun is in the west. That's a fact. That's a different energy point. Even from sunrise to 12 noon, when people go to lunch, the sun is at its highest position in the sky, known as the zenith. It's in the southern portion of the sky. Then you have sunset when the sun is in the west. These are three different energetic points: east, south, and west. Okay? And then at nighttime, you don't see it, but now it's technically in the region of the north. But your portion of the earth has spun away from the sun. That's why the sun is never in the north. It's an impossibility. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So these, when you do see the light, you only see it in three major positions: the east in the beginning, then it travels towards the south, and then it looks like it's traveling towards the west. So these are three different energetic points. So if you're born later in the day, although on the same day, the energy, talking about the celestial body, whether it be Mars, whether it be the moon, whether it be the sun, these are in different positions. So, for example, if you're born at sunrise and the sun is in the eastern hemisphere, along with, let's just say, some other energies are there, other planetary bodies, these people tend to be more psychic, more intuitive. Now, I don't like using the word psychic because it does not truly tell what's taking place. What's happening is, I love to use the term transcendental consciousness. Whoa. Because think about it. If you got an intuition or, a dream or, whatever about something before it happened, it didn't happen, you got to really understand, well, how did you get that information? That information transcended space clearly, and it transcended time because it didn't even happen yet. So that aspect of your consciousness is called transcendental consciousness. Wow. And people who were born with energy in the eastern portion of the sky, if you go to a birth chart, ladies and gentlemen, you type in Google Images birth chart, they call it the 12th house. But a house is nothing more than a region, a directional region in space. So the 12th house gives way to this intuitive ability. But if the energy was born in the south, you was born the energy in the south, these people guaranteed to be supervisors. These people are team leaders. These people are in positions of authority. So when they get a job, they'll be a supervisor. You see what I'm saying? Because the south represents authority. If people are born in the west, when energy's in the west, then these people are strong on partnerships. The western region of the sky where the sunset, that's the 7th house in astrology, known as the house of marriage. Now watch this. What's the ideal scene for the romantic couple? Is it not walking on the beach at sunset? Yeah. Right? There's always a romantic picture of that. Yeah. Because the sun setting in the western sky is known as the 7th house, and that's the house of marriage and partnerships. Wow. Facts. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So this human behavior plays out celestially. We just got to understand. So once you know where the energy is at, you see what I'm saying? Then you can best optimize it for yourself, because the energy is just an external reflection of your own internal psychological processes. You got to understand it. Yes. You got to understand that, because I got twin cousins. bump it. I got twin daughters and one passed and the other one is here. So twins can have total different life paths. So do that mean that but they got the same birth chart? What's happening is, I always like to use my twin cousin. One, I know, one is more what we would call responsible, and the other one is not. And one could be exercising his fun choice of having fun and sleeping with women and things of that nature. And the other one can be exercising the option of the energy that's about career and overtime and working and saving his money. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these planets represent different options of our life. That's all it represents. It's a different aspect of our own psychology, and we get to choose what we want to become.
Wow. That's dope. Now, I got since we in this lane, we in this energy. You said something that always got me, bro, and it was billionaires use astrology.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Now that I want you to explain that, and then I want you to tell people, how does this work for them?
Right. So I'm glad you said that, because, a lot of people, well, astrology ain't real or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But go Google that famous saying. Millionaires don't use astrology. Billionaires do. That is said to be a famous quote from J.P. Morgan,
mm-hmm.
who was a billionaire, founder of, Morgan, which never became Morgan Chase, but, the bank. You know what I mean? And so how to tap in is first getting a basic understanding of what the energy is, man. What's your sun sign, for example? Some people may be born with, it's called a stellium, which means 3 or more planets are tightly conjoined together in the same region of space.
Uh-huh.
And this may not be in the same sign that you are, but, and this is why it becomes important to understand this, because you can be an Aquarius, but if you got 3 planets in Capricorn, that Capricorn energy is going to come online, because you got energy right here. And so what you do is you understand, well, what are the attributes of these particular energies right here? So let's just look at Capricorn. Capricorn represents success, hard work, climbing the mountaintop, being in positions of authority. You know what I'm saying? You the boss, for sure.
Right.
Could be a government official as well. You know what I'm saying? And you got Mars here. This could be a strong, motivating drive, because Mars represents masculine, motivating, passionate energy. Is how you go out and conquer the world. Whereas Venus is more of the personification of what gives you balance and what brings you harmony. For men, it gives you great insight. If you're into heterosexual relationships, it gives you great insight into what you're looking for from the feminine aspect. And for a woman that's in the heterosexual relationships, Mars gives us great insight on how she sees men in her life and how they show up. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And once you know what these energies are and where they are, you know what I mean, then it starts to make sense. It starts to make perfect sense. So, like, for example, once I understood my own chart, when I went back and reviewed my life or the relationships, I always was in relationships with fire women, meaning a woman was either a Sagittarius, a Leo, or Aries, and then I would deal with Gemini women. So those 2 elements, fire and air, are considered masculine. The feminine elements are the water signs and the earth signs. Now, what that simply means is, the masculine simply means I got ideas, I got to move around, I can't sit still. Let's put it in action. Let's go in motion. Let's get it popping.
Uh-huh.
Whereas earth and water signs are a little bit more practical. They deal with feeling. They deal with pursuits in a sense. So it's more grounded in a sense. And the other ones is just, again, it's a little bit more hyper.
Right.
And when I looked at that, And then I looked at my own chart, and it made sense. I got Venus in Aries. Venus, again, is if you go Google image, astrology keywords Venus, you will see keywords that says females, beauty, marriage, love. You know what I'm saying? And so that planet for me is in the sign of Aries, and Aries represents passion and fiery, kick the door down. Let's go. It's the battering ram. You know what I'm saying? It's head first. They don't think, they act. Bump thinking about it. I ain't never scared. That's Aries, the pioneer. You know what I'm saying? I got this saying, since Aries is the first zodiac sign, all of the other 11 signs were scared to go first in God creation, and Aries was the one that kicked it off. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And so I've always been attracted to women who have those qualities about ambition and, self-motivated, get out and they go get theirs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you just start to learn about yourself, man. And a great tool to do it. I have a workbook. It's on myastrologycoach.com. It's called the Self-Activation Workbook. Learn the energy for yourself. It's right there in the notebook. And your homework assignment is for you to pull up your own birth chart. And let's just say you're a Cancer and and the sun is in the 7th house. You got to write a keyword with those two mean. What do the sun mean? It's my personality. What's the 7th house? Relationship. So, in marriage. And so, write a full sentence on what that means. Well, my personality is one that has a lot of respect and reverence to partnerships. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so the goal is to get you to self-activate, to self-actualize once you know who you are and tap into those options where the planets were at when you were born, because it's going to show you the pathways. Now, there's some resistance that's there that you can clearly see. And it doesn't mean that's an impossibility. It just means that, hey, it's going to be a little challenge and whatnot. In fact, you really should push through it, because in this world, Skills, when we lift weights, we got to have resistance, right? You think about that. Resistance builds muscle. Yes. It builds mass. It builds strength. Yes. So the chart is going to show you your resisting points, and then it's going to show you your ease, what comes to you a little bit more, non-resisting. You know what I mean? Right. And I'm not to cut you off, but just to show you that you're right. I had told you, last week, I haven't gotten into the astrology club, but I will be doing that. But I was like, I'm the type of person, like, I can do this on my own. You know what I'm saying? Which I don't, which I really can't, but because even in my art, I still had a mentor. But I did understand the fact that one day, it was back in February, you talking about how Saturn, the energy of Saturn. So I checked my birth chart. So at this day, his energy was feeling kind of off. And just knowing about what you had told me about, it saved my life, literally, bro. So by that happening, how can we, it taught me about, I told you that my mom was a Sagittarius and my dad was a Gemini. Then you was like, that's a square. You know what I'm saying? Which means that was a challenge. And would you believe that helped me deal with what I went through with my parents? I said, well, they did know that they was teaching me through challenges. You know what I'm saying? So that really took a lot of weight off me, bro. But how can we learn about, how can you tell people a quick, brief way of knowing about how a sign is your square and how you can see the light of another sign, such as using the clock diagram that you always speak about? Right. So this is a generality because it really is based off of, the measurement of one person. Let's just say your sun, to my sun, right? So what I say, a general rule is this: Aquarius to Scorpio is a square, right? But let's just say there's a Sagittarius who's born on the first day of Sagittarius. Yesterday it was Scorpio, but today is Sagittarius, right? And then the Aquarius is born on the last day of Aquarius, and tomorrow is going to be the first day of Pisces for that person. That is a square. Although it's Aquarius to Sagittarius, that's a square, technically, because of the degrees of both people's sun in this particular example that I'm giving. They're both on the cusp of the other sign. So therefore, these two other signs, they don't mix. But I'm going to give you guys a general rule, okay? The general rule is this. Going to start in order. Aries, Cancer, then Libra, then Capricorn. All of these four are known as the cardinal signs. Two are across, one pair is across from each other. Both pairs are across from each other, and then they square each other. So in other words, Aries to Cancer is a square, because Aries is the beginning of the spring and Cancer is the beginning of summer.
Wow.
Okay. And then watch this. Aries is a fire sign, and then Cancer is a water sign. Do fire and water mix? No,
not at all. Not at all.
One's going to put out water, put out the fire, and if the fire is too strong, it's going to evaporate the water.
Whoa.
So they energetically, they don't necessarily mix, but they come at the beginning of a season.
Oh.
One starts the spring, one starts the summer.
Okay.
And then you have Libra, who starts the fall. Now, Libra to Aries is directly across from each other. On the wall clock, this is 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Okay, they're directly across from each other. Libra is an air sign. Aries is a fire sign. Air and fire are compatible, but they are in opposition to each other. Simply meaning, if you was on the wall clock and you were at 7 o'clock, leaving 7 o'clock, going to the middle of the clock, and somebody else was at 1 o'clock, leaving 1 o'clock, y'all gonna run into each other because y'all having a face-off staring at each other. The opposition is a face-off, but it really supposed to represent balance, okay?
Wow.
And then we move to Capricorn. Capricorn, from Libra to Capricorn, that's a square, because Libra starts the fall, and Capricorn is the first day of winter. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is not energetically compatible. And then Capricorn is opposite Cancer. Cancer is the first day of summer, but Capricorn is the first day of winter. Season-wise, they don't mix, but they all come at the beginning of the season. And so then we progress to the next set of signs, which are in the middle of the season, known as the fixed signs of the zodiac. The first ones are known as the cardinal signs that I just named. Cardinal simply means these people can start ventures. The next group of people are the fixed signs. They are the focusers. The first one is Taurus. Taurus the bull. What they always say, stubborn,
Yeah.
which means, no, this person's energy is fixated. Okay?
Right.
They take what was started and they preserve it because they come in the middle of the season. So Taurus is in the middle of the spring. Leo is in the middle of the summer. Taurus is earth. Leo is fire. What happened when fire and earth get together? Either the earth puts out the fire or the fire going to scorch up the earth. There's no balance there.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? They don't complement each other, right? And then from Leo, then it goes to Scorpio. Scorpio is the water sign. It's in the middle of the fall. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the last one is Aquarius, which is the air sign. You see what I'm saying? So Scorpio to Aquarius is like air and water. What do you do with air and water? That's called a plunger. When your toilet is stopped up, you bring this incompatible air bubble and you create this bubble to unplug it. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
In other words,
right.
air and water don't really do nothing.
Right.
And so the elements of the signs have to be compatible. So those are the fixed signs of the zodiac that come in the middle of the season. They preserve the idea that was started from the cardinal signs. Whereas your last group of signs are known as the mutable signs: Gemini, the end of the spring; Virgo, the end of the summer; Sagittarius, the end of the fall; Pisces, the end of the winter.
Whoa.
These signs are known as the mutable signs, and they're said to be versatile. But think about it. when you come at the end of a season, like let's just say Gemini, what sign comes after Gemini? Cancer. Cancer starts what? It starts the summer. So the mutable signs, their next door neighbor is someone who's about to start a whole new season. And since that energy, Pisces and these energies, you know, the Gemini, the Virgo, the Sag, the Pisces, they come at the end of the season and their neighbor is about to start a whole new season. These people are versatile and they can multitask.
Did y'all
Like
hear that,
me,
people?
I can't multitask worth for shit because because I got a lot of fixed energy in my chart. I got something in Leo, I got hella stuff in Aquarius, and excuse me if I curse, I don't know if we can curse enough, but excuse me for that. You know, I got a lot of stuff in Aquarius, I got stuff in Scorpio. So a lot of my energy is fixed, which means I get focused. And when I get focused, I can't stop. You know what I'm saying? And I can't multitask. I suck at it. I'm so bad at multitasking, bro. I can be typing something, and if you say something to me in conversation, I'll type what you said.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how bad I am. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But that explains the energy of it, though.
Okay. Now, we talking about the fixations. And it seems like when they fixated us as far as being locked down on the pandemic, I'm not gonna lie, it was one of the best times of my life, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, man. And it's because I know I do my best work sitting down, my best thinking sitting down. Now, what I've also seen was you building a portfolio in 1 year that some people work all their life to do, bro. Tell me, bro. You got to tell me, man. You got to give me some info on that, bro. Right.
So, yeah, you know, it's something, ladies and gentlemen, known as the midlife crisis. Usually it's about 40 to 42 years of age. I can tell you celestially why that's happening. The planet Uranus in the sky, if it was at 12 o'clock when you were born, at 40 to 42, usually 42, it's at 6 o'clock. And and what happens is this is a planet that represents disruption and sudden changes. And in our physical world, it appears like, oh my God, I'm 40. You know, half my life is over. I didn't realize my dreams. I'm too old to be filling out job applications and starting over. And you just had this epiphany that half your life is over.
Right.
And we go through plenty of cycles, 7-year cycles. You know, it's even a TV show on it now called like the 7-year itch, and it's dealing with relationships. Because if you Google 7-year itch, you will see a whole wiki page pop up to talk about relationships usually go through a rough patch in these 6 to 7 year cycles. Okay. Whether it be 7, 14, 21, 28. But that's interesting because that mirrors Saturn. Saturn moves in these weird 7-year cycles like that as well. And also your bankrupt. Now, Saturn represents government. Facts. Represents government. And your bankruptcy, you have to declare that through United States bankruptcy law. And that is a 7-year cycle as well. You see what I'm saying? So this is a cosmic clock. Ladies and gentlemen, you have 12 Federal Reserve District banks in the United States. Just like you got 12 zodiac signs, just like the number 12 is the biggest number on your wall clock. It's the biggest number on your ruler. And I always like to put emphasis on, they could have called it anything else. They just could have called it a 12-inch stick. Why did they call it a ruler? What is it about the number 12? And then you got this whole Jesus and the 12 disciples, which is nothing more than another story that comes out of Genesis 49 in the Bible that deals with Jacob and these 12 tribes of Israel. Now, you can think about if these are physical people if you want to, but I'm telling you, they're talking about something else. It is actually, on one level, it's talking about the sun in the sky going through these 12 different constellations that you call on your calendar the 12 months in the year. But all of that is symbolic to opening up your skull, and you're going to understand that you have 12 pair of cranial nerves. Google it.
Wow.
So those disciples, and this is why they said Christ was buried at Golgotha, the place of the skull. They want you to think, ladies and gentlemen. You have to think. You have to understand that Christ is within you. The book of Paul flat out tell you, do you not know that Christ is in you? They tell you these things.
Right.
Okay. So we just gonna read, but nevertheless, it's to get you to open up and come online. Okay, meaning come into your supreme self. All right, so I was going through my midlife crisis, man, and I'm gonna be real with you. I looked at it and I said, you know what? Spiritually, philosophically, I am very wealthy when it comes to information and testimonials I have from clients, whether we reverse so-called diseases that they had and they never had it before again, ever.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Financial testimonials we got from people from manifesting money and things of that nature just by them, using their imagination or writing a check and sending a check to themselves in the mail, and all of a sudden they get some money in the mail. Like, we've got all of this stuff documented, but I wasn't happy financially for me and what my own financial ambitions was since a child.
Okay.
And I had to get real with that. And so I never wanted to use my spiritual gift to make money. In other words, if I knew that, it could be anything. I got an opportunity right now where the man, I said they want to sell me the property for $180K, right?
Right.
And I could work out a deal with them where I can get it for $80K and I just take over the mortgage, right? I don't want to have to go launch an event and do a book signing and talk about spiritual topics just because I really need the money. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's just me, though. That's me.
Right.
When I get in this bag right here, it has to come from divine inspiration, not that it's driven by money and financial obligation.
Wow.
So I separated the two and said I needed to create a financial wealth vehicle, something that's going to bring in the bread. Then I said, man, everybody keep talking this real estate. So what I did was I put some things together, me and some family and friends. We put some bread together and went out and purchased property and didn't even have money to fix the property. Held it for 5 months. I'll never forget the first deal. You'll never forget your first deal of any sort, because there's so many different strategies that you can do in real estate that I teach now.
Wow.
Let
me ask you a question. Do you need a lot of money?
Yeah.
Do you need a lot of money?
No, you can get in this space with no money down. Well, here, very little money. And when I say this, I mean, you may start with, I'll share the technique with you. If you messed up on money and your credit messed up, then y'all need to look into a technique called wholesale. Now, in the Chicago area, Chicago got hit and was like, hey, y'all making more money than realtors. Y'all disrupting the game. You can only do 1 or 2 of these a year. You're going to have to do something else. Now, what I'm going to tell you, this is not legal advice, but you may want to go seek legal advice, because this is my opinion about if that is true. You can only do 1 or 2 a year. Well, if I have a company, which is just nothing more than an LLC that you can file for less than $200, and you got you a company now, and you go contract with, John Doe. John Doe agrees to sell their house to you, and they agree to sell you the house for $50,000. And you write up a contract that you're going to purchase this house for $50,000, and they're going to have their $50,000, and you're going to close on this deal in 30 days from now. And in 30 days from now, within 30 days, you find someone that's willing to give you $60,000, right? Mm-hmm. And that's called wholesale. You make up another contract. They sign that contract that they agree that they're going to pay you a $10,000 fee along with the original $50,000 purchase price. Now, if it's limited in Chicago, which I heard it was, again, this is not legal advice, it's own legal advice, then I can sell my company. And so now I can say, hey, my company has this in contract, but what I'm about to do is you and I'm going to bring you on for $10,000 that we agreed upon. I'm going to bring you on as a partner. And when this deal closed, I am going to exit out of this particular company, and it's 100% yours now.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm not participating in, wholesale real estate. I buy companies and I basically sell my company. So it's going to be hard. So you would never be able to stop. You can't stop a genius in a nutshell. That's all I'm saying. So maybe it's something that you can, again, this is not legal advice, ladies and gentlemen. Look into it if that be the case. So, but with little money, I started that way, bro. I started with absolutely, like, I don't know. I sent this lady 2 postcards, bro. And at the time I was going like to Kinko's, FedEx, and they'd print them for me. And then I got those 2 envelopes, like a FedEx type of envelope, which is very effective. Because if somebody sends you a package in the mail and it's like a FedEx type of envelope, you're going to open it up because you think it has some form of urgency.
Right.
And so I wrote 2 letters. I wrote them, yellow paper, red pen back then. 2 letters I sent her and 2 postcards. I spent less than $20 on this, probably less than 10. She called me. And when she called me, we agreed to $50,000. That's why I use that as an example, because that was my first deal. And in 30 days, I was going to give her this $50,000. But what I did was I picked up the phone, called somebody, and they came over, who was a mentor to me. And she was like, oh, yeah, I give you 65 for this with no problem. I said, good. The guy across the street who just fixed the house, he was willing to give me 70. I would have made 20,000. I didn't care about the extra 5,000. I care about the importance of my relationship and who was helping me. And so I sold it for 65. And what happens is the buyer don't even go to the closing table. The buyer wired in $65,000. The lady got her 50, and the title company said, do you want to come pick up your check? Or you want us to wire it to you? And now back then I was like, no, I'm going to pick mine up, put it in my hand.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right? That's right. And so what did I do? I made $15,000 off of less than a $10 investment by me sending letters.
Wow.
And so that very first deal, I was just stalking one house until I got some feedback. And then you would scale, you know what I mean? And obviously you would start spending some money maybe on postcards or mail, or you can make phone calls and call these homeowners and whatnot. And you're going to get some no's, of course, but it's a numbers game. The more people you go through, the more likelihood you are to get some people to say yes. Right now, I have over 20 prospects that said they want to sell their house that I have to call. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's very, very doable with very little money. You can start with your honest budget of where you're at right now. Because, see, here's the thing, Skills. If you say, man, I only got $100, I'll say, okay, $100 for 12 cents, my software with PropStream will give you, will skip trace, which means they generate a phone number for the person, for the property owner.
Uh-huh.
So if you take $100 divided by 12 cents, that's 833 phone numbers you can get for $100.
Whoa.
Everybody got 100. So for 100, you can get you 833 phone numbers, and now you may get phone numbers for vacant properties or out-of-town owners. I'll tell you how to find that, and now you can call them. But now you can't be scared. But if you really want this, you ain't gonna be scared. So it ain't gonna be nothing for you to say, "Hey, I speak to Ricky. Hey, Ricky, man. My name is Noble, man. I'm a local real estate buyer. Me and my mom buy properties in the area, and we got some money put to the side where we really, we're ready to buy some more next month. I was just interested in your property, man. 123. Damon, are you selling that? Because I see it shows up as vacant. Are you selling? And they mean, no, I'm gonna hold it. But what's your plans with it? Well, whatever they may say, you start building rapport with them. Well, I'll call you back next month and just to check in on you, see how you're doing and making any progress. And you're gonna get somebody to say, yeah, make me an offer. And when they say that, now you're on base. And that's where it's at, right there, getting on base.
That's really, man, you just said the steps to any business. That's the steps to any business, bro.
It really is.
That's dope, really bro. That's dope. Well, what I want to do, we close. We getting ready to close out in about 11 minutes or so. So what I want you to do, Brother Noble, man, I want you to tell the people where and how they contact you and the services that you offer.
Yeah, for sure, man. Appreciate it, man. Man, you can just call my line direct. Man, you can call my Google Voice, 267-403-4078. These days, I'm not necessarily in the spiritual science side of it. I'm not gonna lie to you because I get focused on things. I am definitely 100% motivated by creating family wealth. So my website is The Family Wealth Club. The Family Wealth Club. From there, you can join our monthly membership that we have. We do 2 live webinars every single month. When I get real estate deals, I say, hey, do you want to go in on this? You know what I mean? Let's do something. But we have to be established friends and family before we even get into that. All right. And so we want to be very clear. This is not a public offering. This is not a public solicitation. I'm just saying, as families, especially the Black man, it is your responsibility to man up, and we need to be having these conversations like, what kind of things can we do together? We can create a business together. There's nothing illegal with that. Let's create a business together and let's go do some things and whatnot. So when opportunities come, we should be looking into these opportunities and sharing these opportunities with each other. And that's what we do. TheFamilyWealthClub.com. And if you more or less want to get straight into the real estate, go to that website, scroll down. You're going to see something called Real Estate to Millions. In 18 months, what Brother Skills alluded to, 18 months, I got off Facebook. I got extremely focused, and I built $1 million rental portfolio in just 18 months. So TheFamilyWealthClub.com, scroll down, and you can get on that Real Estate to Millions course. And it's not even a course. It's a one-on-one with me for 90 days. I could have made it automated videos where I don't have to spend time with you like everybody else do. And I don't knock that. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But I like to be in the trenches. And the million that I got, it came from the trenches. I got roaches in one of my properties that I just acquired that I got to get cleaned out. You know what I'm saying? I got a nasty tenant in one. So I'm in what's called C-class material with D-class type of attitudes, and I got to clean it up so I can get the future appreciation of this building. So I'm in the grit, and I want to be in the grit right there with you. So this is not no automated course. This is me helping you get on base. Once you get on base and that homeowner says, yeah, I do want to sell, you say, you know what, when's a good time I can come over and just walk the building and see it with my own eyes, bring my contractor through so I can just know what it's going to take for me to put it back together. And once you set that date, now you on base, give me a call. And guess what? I'm going to show you how we're going to make the offer, how you're going to make the offer. You're going to have supporting, facts, neighborhood properties that sold to support the number that you're going to offer and whatnot, and get you a deal and sell your contract, man. People are becoming millionaires doing this. And I'm telling you, I've done it. And I was held back in second grade. I'm a little slow. So if I can do it, you can do it. The Family Wealth Club, man, is where I'm at.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Brother Noble, man, you really made me sit down and expand myself, bro, because, I thought about, I'm like, instead of me owning 100% of my own business, let me add value to myself. And I can own 40% of other businesses just through my art, bro. So I'm building something on that too for people, bro. So
that's right.
Yeah. So in saying that, man, this was a beautiful show. I love it, man. I told you I'm not gonna bring y'all everyday conversation because it's only repeating what you already know. You ain't learning if you repeat what you already know. It takes new information for new levels. So in saying that, we want to say, support your local weed man. Hashtag support your local weed man. Hashtag support your local weed man. Go to our site, punch in the code skills, and get your shirt. So, Brother Noble, man, I want to thank you, man, for your time, bro. And for people, y'all can rewind the show and get his information. I'm going to post it on my page, too, for you. So, and there, bro, I love you, man. I appreciate you, and I wish you much prosperity, bro.
Hey, man, I love you, too, man. Appreciate the opportunity, man. Y'all give me a call. Thank you.
All right.
Who's this? Who's that? Who's out? Who's now? Who'll follow? Who's hollow? Who's low? Who's low? Who's deep in need? Who'll sweat? Who'll bleed? Who will beg it? Who will plead in the land of the free? Who's black? Who's white? Who's wrong? Who's right? Who will stand and who will fight in the day or the night? Who is speaking? Who will write? Who's protecting copyright? Sing your soul sacrifice for the fame in these